Last time on Cyberphile, we faced off with the false jester, found the real jester, and was gifted with the ever-important Vertigo brand, allowing us to shift our gravity for a short period of time. Hello, Saltborn! Welcome back to Cyberphiles from the Depths, this lore-enhanced walkthrough of Salt and Sanctuary. So, I got the Vertigo brand last episode, and there's one more area that I missed that I need to grab, and I missed it because, honestly, I usually end up taking out the false jester second. I mean, taking him out first, and then doubling back for the Kraken Cyclops. So, I'm used to that. Ooh, I hope we don't fall. That was close. And so I usually double back and hit this obelisk on the way towards, or the way back to the Kraken Cyclops. There's a couple more items that we can get up here, so I'm just going to nab those real quick. First of which, I'm going to go over this way. I think there's a charm over here for us. There we go. And that one actually allows us to regen HP on hits. So maybe I want that more than the extra damage outgoing. I like more HP. And then down here I believe we can get a fairly rare shield. The Ascarian Scutum. And now we can double back and head towards our new location. Once we make it through Bandit's Pass, of course. Okay, so I made it past the group of enemies and axe-throwing baddies on the way through Bandit's Pass, and now we can enter into a newer area. But first, let's grab the axe that's hidden in this room. I don't know if you could really call it hidden, but you do need a key to get there, so. And then this is why you need the Vertigo brand, in order to access the Castle of Storms to the right here. But first, let's grab this item hidden up here. I always love doing that little slingshot thing with the Vertigo brand. It's a neat little touch. And now we can enter into the Castle of Storms. So the Castle of Storms exists in Colchis, as you remember, in the southern continent. And it was owned by the greedy King of Storms, Jarrett. And he was power hungry, for sure. I hate these skulls. They're bastards. There we go. He was power hungry for sure, and he ruled over many powerful court sorcerers. And these court sorcerers brought to life these powerful armor guardians, this thing that I'm fighting right now. Ultimately, what ended up happening was the court sorcerers knew that really they had all the power, not the King of Storms, so to speak. So they tried to overthrow him, and that ended up eventually creating this sort of civil war inside the Castle of Storms, which ultimately doomed said castle. I need to be careful. Sometimes it's hard to talk and fight at the same time. There we go. So, though the Castle of Storms held a great deal of power for a while, it eventually was for naught. And here we meet with one of my favorite enemies, the Split Swordsman. At least one of my favorite enemies as far as lore goes. Lesser enemies. Here he is. You can see him over there with his sword shuddering with the strange mask on. These guys can be pretty tough the first time you face them, but it's not nearly my first time. I want to show you that they have that teleport ability that you saw there, but let's get rid of them. So, Split Swordsmen were originally known as the Blue Guard, which was a very powerful regiment of the Ascarian army. And the Blue Guard were overseen by the yet another greedy character, Duke Garldin. And Garldin wanted his regiment, his army, of course, to be as powerful as possible. What ended up happening is one day, a wandering sorcerer known as Plan the Seeker showed up and was like, hey, I will help you make your army the most powerful army possible. And Garldin, of course, in his greed, was like, sure, let's do it. So, what Garldin didn't know is that what Plan really wanted was guinea pigs for his teleportation experiments. And so, he experimented with the Blue Guard, often ending miserably. In fact, what would happen is pieces of the Split Swordsman would end up in different planes of existence. Meaning that their arms and legs and... oh, here's our first death. I'm surprised that killed us. Their arms and legs and other parts of their body would end up either in the void or just teleported off of them, obviously resulting in a lot of pain for these Split Swordsmen. So these swordsmen now have the ability to phase in and out of reality, and, however, not at will. As a result, you could see that the one that I was fighting earlier, he was like shuddering. Of course, because he was in pain and from his mangled form and not being able to control any of his teleportation or anything like that. It's kind of crazy and kind of sad. And they were so loyal that they just gave into the experimentation. It's likely that eventually, after the disasters of the experimentation, that they tried to escape to Colchis, which is where we are now. And maybe they found themselves under the tutelage of Jared, the King of Storms. Because remember, they were Ascarian guards, not Colchis guards. When Duke Garldin finally caught wind of these failed experiments and just this gruesome experimentation on his soldiers that are now not any more powerful, in fact maybe less powerful, since now they're missing arms and body parts and can't exactly tell where you're gonna strike if you keep phasing in and out of reality, right? So after he learned of these terrible experiments, Duke Garldin went to punish Plan the Seeker, and Plan the Seeker was gone, just out of nowhere, and he actually absconded with Duke Garldin's cursed sword, the Shikamaru. The Shikamaru was said to have been used for many brutal executions, and was soaked in the blood of his innocents, and that's what made it so cursed. Now, it's kind of savage when you think about it, but nobody knows what happened to good old Plan the Seeker. They don't know if maybe he finally got teleportation right and was able to get out, or maybe he was just lost to the void forever. Nobody knows what really happened to Plan the Seeker. Simply that he is no more. Come on, you Ember Skulls. Perfect. Let's see, I actually don't really want to fight this Armor Guardian. There's no point right now. We can't get through that door down there just yet anyway. We'll grab these items though. And that's all the story that I really have for you about the Castle of Storms. Luckily, we've got a little more to talk about with the Masterless Knight. Let's see what he has to say. You made it! Look at this view. Stunning, isn't it? I heard there's a thief somewhere with what sounded like a particularly useful rune. There's also that pesky dragon. Needs to be slain. Do you ever wonder where these buildings came from? Who built this castle? Does it have a master? So, I already sort of spoiled the part of the story for you that these areas are coming from the mainland in some way, though I haven't told you why or how yet. At any rate, that's our first indication that, hey, maybe these places weren't always here. What's going on? And now we've gotten to our first sanctuary of the Castle of Storms, and the only sanctuary, actually. And I believe, yes, we've gotten an alchemist. Now, alchemist is one of the most powerful characters you can have in your sanctuaries, and I'm going to fill up this sanctuary. And the reason why is because he can actually transmute your weaponry. Now, it looks like I don't have anything with which to transmute my poleaxe, but let me just use this sword for instance. You can use items that you've collected along the way to transform them into other weapons. So, incredibly useful. We'll be utilizing him for sure in the near future. But for now, let's just level up. Okay, so let's make more progress up into the Castle of Storms. By taking the stairs, of course. And another hint that you can tell that Jared was a cruel man is these guys. Now, these guys have cages around their heads, and they are called caged men. A fitting name, no doubt. They were clearly tortured for some reason or another. And we'll see a lot of caged men in the next area, but for now, it can just be a little indication that, hey, maybe Jarrett wasn't so great a king. Though I've already told you that, so. Whew, there we go. I was afraid we were going to get hit by that double attack again. It was devastating last time. So up over here we can see the thief that the Masterless Knight was talking about. And we will be able to talk to her soon. But first I'm going to double down for a quick item that we won't be using, but may as well grab it anyway. It's the Phoenix Rodanch, which is an incredibly useful shield if you're using a shield build, as it resists, I think, 100% fire damage. So, and it's incredibly useful in the upcoming boss battle. So let's just work our way up the Castle of Storms some more. And we'll head in there in a minute. It's just a sanctuary, or a mini sanctuary. One of those ones with just the candles. But we're gonna have to double back anyway to grab one of the items, so that's what we're gonna do. Right over here you can see that item on the ledge there. We're just gonna drop and grab that grasping ring, which is actually the ring that we took on the way in. We're way back in the beginning of the game, so that we could get extra salt drops. So we're gonna rest at this sanctuary, and on the next episode of From the Depths with Cyberphile, we will be taking on the next boss, and probably delving a bit into the next area. Don't miss it. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more Cyberphile content. And if you like this video, show me with that little thumbs up button. If you liked this video, you might like one of my other videos. You can click right on the boxes to jump to them. Cyberphile, offline.